In this video, I drew 50 torsos in 300 minutes. The goal is to learn something from the challenge and most importantly, to have fun. Before we get into the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It's free. You can always change your mind later. Anyway, enjoy the video. For this challenge, I'm mainly following David Finch's approach to drawing torsos. I'll drop a link in the description below if you want to check out how he breaks down torso anatomy. It's definitely worth a watch. So for the first few drawings, I started without using any references. This part of the challenge was just me warming up, and it's really important to me, especially when I first wake up. It helps kickstart my brain, makes me function better, and helps me think more clearly throughout the session. And not gonna lie y'all, if I skip my morning warm-up, I start doing the weirdest stuff. There was this one time I jumped straight into commissions without warming up, and suddenly I found myself watching Haikyuu Season 3 Episode 4, and my brain was so unfocused, I ended up making 2 cups of coffee back to back. I swear, I made a cup of coffee, sat down, didn't even take a sip, then went to the kitchen and made another one like the first cup never existed. That's how crucial warm-ups are. Stay alert out there, people. Anyways, for this sketch that I'm doing right now, I realized I was really being too stiff with my figures, and I've been drawing for 20 minutes at this point, so I had to use a reference for the next one. I used a back anatomy reference for the next one because honestly, I've always struggled with drawing the muscles on the back, especially when the arms are raised, and I know a lot of you can probably relate when I say this. I despise how the shoulder muscles shift around, particularly when the deltoid disappears behind the arm. It just gets confusing real quick, so yeah. This challenge is definitely helping me deepen my understanding of how these muscles actually work and interact. What I really like about this reference is how clearly you can see the muscle groups and tendons and exactly where they anchor to the body. If you're trying to improve your anatomy skills, references like these are absolute gold. One of my favorite resources for learning this kind of stuff is ProCreate. He breaks down human anatomy in a super beginner-friendly and detailed way. I'll drop a link to his channel in the description below if you want to check him out later. But hey, finish this video first or you might have an unlucky day this year. Just saying. Alright, time for the female torsos. I actually studied female anatomy alongside male anatomy, but for some reason I find it way harder to get the hang of it. I think it's because the female figure tends to be more gestural and fluid, less rigid, more curvy and flowing, if that makes sense. My line work naturally leans toward being pretty stiff and angular, so drawing female bodies pushes me away out of my comfort zone. But honestly, that's what makes it fun. It's a great challenge, and gesture drawing is crucial when it comes to making figures look more natural and organic. That said, as you can probably tell from my first attempts, I butchered everything. I wasn't happy with how I drew the poses or the proportions. They look very stiff, awkward, and the waist is way too small compared to the torso. So yeah, the proportions and posing are definitely off, but hey, it's all part of the learning process. At this point, I was honestly getting pretty frustrated. I just couldn't come up with any cool or dynamic poses in my head. My creativity hit a wall, so I turned to Pinterest to look for some inspiration. And what I found wasn't anything crazy, but it was pretty simple figure drawing. And the angle, that's what caught my attention. It had this subtle but interesting perspective that made it feel fresh, so I knew I had to do it. We're now at the 60-minute mark of the challenge, and I was finally starting to loosen up. I decided to ditch the hard edge brush for lining my sketches and switch to a soft round brush instead. That change really helped me shake off some of the perfectionism and stiffness that had been creeping into my figure drawings. For the next hour, I tried to avoid using references just to push my creativity and explore my own shape, language, and anatomy style. I think I only used one reference during that time. Yeah, there we go. I only used this reference for the next hour, but the rest was all from imagination. Around this point, I also realized I'd been drawing the pec muscles way too big in my earlier sketches. So if you take a look at these upcoming sketches, I've scaled them down in these drawings and now they look way more proportional to the rest of the body. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with this discovery. Also, while you're watching me sketch out these figures, and since I don't have much to say at the moment, let me throw out some anatomy resources I personally recommend if you're looking to level up your skills. First one is Cynic's Design. He's got tons of quick anatomy tips and does a great job simplifying complex forms into something super digestible. And secondly, Modern Day James. He has a fantastic video where he breaks down Bridgman's anatomy. It's super helpful for understanding both the basic and more advanced structure of the human body. The next one is pretty underrated, Love Life Drawing. This channel is amazing for learning figure drawings in general. They really emphasize gesture and how to simplify the body without losing flow. And of course, there's always David Finch and Proco, both absolute legends when it comes to breaking down anatomy for artists. This list is just my personal go-to when it comes to learning anatomy, but of course, there are plenty of other ways to study. One great method is studying other artists' styles. That's actually what helped me a lot when I was still building up my fundamentals. I used to copy tons of works from Yusuke Murata, Kohei Horikoshi, and Jang Sang-rak. Doing exercises like that really helps you understand structure and flow, and over time it will naturally influence and shape your own style. Speaking from experience, oh my god, yes. This was the part where I started struggling big time. I was trying to draw one figure punching another, and as you can see, I just kept erasing and reworking the figure on the right. I hit a mental block and was definitely starting to feel frustrated. But hey, that's part of the process, right? It's totally normal to hit roadblocks and mess up a few sketches along the way. That's just how it goes sometimes. The key is to keep pushing through, and eventually I managed to come up with something decent enough that I didn't totally hate myself for it. And I think without even realizing it, I started shading and rendering the figures just to make up for my lack of dynamic anatomy in the pose. Totally unproductive and unnecessary. But looking back, it actually turned out to be kind of fun, and honestly, it gave me the idea that maybe I should do a full video where I just render anatomy instead of only sketching. So if that's something you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments. I started experimenting with wacky proportions, and at first I was really struggling, especially with the first one. I mean, come on, look at it, it's pretty awful. But the next one turned out pretty decent. Hulk is definitely one of the best references when it comes to drawing bulky, oversized characters. And it's not just Hulk. Studying Western comics in general is very helpful for learning anatomy. Most superheroes and villains wear spandex, which makes all the muscle definition and body structure very easy to see. That's probably why I've grown so attached to Western comics. I've come to appreciate the way they highlight the beauty of human anatomy. Right now, I'm absolutely obsessed with Invincible. Ryan Ottley, the artist behind it, is one of my biggest inspiration. The way he simplifies anatomy while still keeping it detailed is amazing. His shape language is so clean and dynamic, and the facial expressions he draws are phenomenal. I really wish he posted more drawing time-lapses or process videos on his Instagram reels. I love watching him work. His live sessions are always inspiring and full of things to learn. Kinda like David Finch. Anyways, speaking of Western comics, here's a Hulk reference I found on Pinterest. I really had fun with this one since you can clearly see all the muscles and how it's easy to copy their forms and how they stretch and squash. By the way, I've watched a lot of Hulk analysis on how the character's psyche works, and the reason is that I really love the theme of a man having two different faces. Kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I wanted to write a story about a character similar to Hulk, but instead of turning into a green monster when he gets angry, my character becomes something very ugly when he's too honest. So he lives by lying all the time to maintain his beauty on the outside. I think it would make a cool story. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. For this one, I used a Venom reference, but instead of replicating the anatomy one-to-one, I decided to tone down the muscles exaggeration quite a bit. As for this Wolverine sketch right here, it's probably my favorite piece in the whole challenge, and that's mainly because I'm a huge fan of rigid, structured characters. I love sharp angles and geometric forms, and as you can see, I applied that to almost every part of his body. Look at the arms, they're super angular and squared off. Even the entire figure, when broken down into a basic silhouette, it's basically just a rectangle. So yeah, that one was a blast to sketch. For the next two drawings, I didn't use any reference at all. I just wanted to alternate between imagining the figure on my own and working from reference. That back and forth approach kept the challenge from feeling repetitive and actually made it more engaging and refreshing. Like I said earlier, one of my biggest weaknesses is drawing female anatomy. So when I worked on this one, I made it a point to draw a bunch of female figures using references. Looking at it now, I think the main issue is getting the proportions right. I usually make the torso too big and the waist too small, and I have this habit of drawing the heads way too tiny for some reason, so yeah, the proportions are kinda all over the place. Honestly, proportions are everything when it comes to human anatomy. Even if you're just a little off, the whole drawing can look weird, no matter how you try to render or polish it. For me, getting the proportions right is the most important part of drawing figures in general. All the muscle details and stuff are just extra. They're cool to have, but not as essential. After using some reference, I decided to draw a buff female character. It's still a bit rough, but I added a lot of muscle definition to this one. You'll actually see an even buffer and thicker female character pretty soon. I've really been enjoying pushing that style. There's just something super fun and aesthetically pleasing about drawing really muscular characters. I think that's part of why I love superhero comics so much. Anyway, we finally hit the 180-minute mark and I've drawn more than half of what's needed to complete the challenge. I was kinda cruising through it, not gonna lie. It started getting way more fun once I began using superhero references. I've thought a lot about making an in-depth tutorial on how I draw full human anatomy, but there are already so many great tutorials out there that I feel like doing the same thing might be kind of unnecessary. On top of that, I'm not the best at explaining things clearly, so I'd probably just end up sounding a bit pretentious without meaning to. Maybe instead I could make a video where I casually share tips and tricks that I've picked up while drawing human figures. I don't know how many tips I actually have right now, but I could start writing them down. Who knows, maybe one day I'll have enough to turn it into a solid long-form video. Anyway, I've yapped enough for now. I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the video and I'll check back in with you at the end. Hey, I'm back. So for the last 5 figures, I decided to throw them all into a fight scene. I figured it'd be helpful for you to see how I simplify my construction lines in an actual context, especially in a dynamic scenario like this. I always try to do exercises like this whenever I can. They come with a ton of benefits and I definitely recommend giving it a shot. Also, I managed to finish the challenge without going over the 300-minute mark, which I'm pretty happy about. Now the big question, did I learn anything new from this challenge? The answer is always going to be yes. I'm not perfect and I don't know everything, so any kind of challenge, even small ones, will help me improve bit by bit. As long as I'm gaining something new from it, it's worth doing. So yeah, I definitely suggest you try this too. Just make sure to have fun with it and not push yourself to the point of burnout. If you watch all the way to the end, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to support me even more, feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's at the top of the description. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps me keep creating more content like this. If you have any content ideas or suggestions, just let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching and have an awesome day.